Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is a podcast for indie authors. I'm Kat Caldwell, novelist, short story writer, and book coach. Here on Pencils and Lipstick, we're obsessed with all things story, and it is my goal to bring you the writing tips that you need to make your novel come to life. Hello everyone, welcome back to Pencils and Lipstick. This is episode 303 of the podcast, and today we are going to talk websites. Now, websites is something that a lot of people out there claim that we don't need as authors, and I and Maite, my guest, would disagree. Even as AI sort of takes over everything, I think you've noticed when you search in Google now, they have a little summary up there, an AI summary. The best way to have a presence online when people are searching for things is to have a website. And Maite and I are going to go into this a little bit, but I kind of want to bring that home, that a website doesn't have to be super complicated. Maite makes beautiful ones. You can look into hers. I actually just redid my website, and so we're going to have the link in the show notes below where you can see how I worked with Maite to get my website up and running. And I am super pleased with Squarespace now. I was on WordPress for over a decade. I am not a tech person, but I would never not have a website. It's just essential. You can have your Substack, you can have your newsletter, you can have your online presence and via social media, but you still need to have a website. It is just the number one place that people still go to try to find out more about you. But again, it doesn't have to be complicated. But it is just the nicest way to send people to find you. So if you're ever going to be a guest on a podcast, it is so much easier to say, check out my website at katcaldwell.com to find out more, to sign up for my newsletter, to find my books. Once you're on that page, there should be easy navigation buttons so that the readers can find out more about you. But it is so much easier to tell people your website page than it is to list off all the social media. And even if you have a Substack, there are lots of people who don't quite get Substack, aren't on Substack. It's just not as common as looking for a website. So I kind of want to bring that home to you guys. I hope that worked. I hope that you guys are in spring. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I guess you're going into fall, I think. So I hope you have a beautiful spring. You might be able to hear I am very allergic to so many things out in the world, but I love being out in the world. And so I just, throughout my life, have just sort of sucked it up and just dealt with it. But my nose is stuffy, my throat itches, all the things. So as we go into spring, there is something about, getting cozy and snuggling up and writing your books from, the corner of the couch that's the most comfortable. But there's also something wonderful about springtime. You feel like you can be outside. Maybe you find a coffee shop where you can write a little bit more outside and be in the sunshine. And as much as I like to be cozy, I love the spring. I love taking advantage of it. It gets so muggy here so quickly in Virginia that you sort of have to take advantage really of the nice days that you have. So as far as my life goes, personal has somewhat calmed down. All the medical emergencies have calmed down. Still have volleyball, end of the school year. But Next Love is coming out in less than 2 months, which I'm very excited about. And next week, I should have the finalization of the cover. So if you are following me on social media, you'll be able to see the cover reveal. It's going to be exciting. And actually next week we're talking about covers on the podcast. Please remember, if you know of somebody who you would love to hear on the podcast, let me know. The easiest way is to go to my website, katcaldwell.com, or to go to Instagram or TikTok and DM me. Actually, all those ways work. You can get attention, get my attention that way. And let me know who you want on the podcast. I hope that you listened last week. We continued our Craft and Connect marketing conversations. We were talking about the core pillars, and I've been actually thinking about those ever since and sort of narrowing down my core pillars. And I'm thinking that a lot of times our core pillars show up in our themes, like the themes that we tend to write over and over again as writers. So if you're having trouble with your core values for marketing, maybe look into the themes that you like to play with when you are writing. So let's see what else is happening. So we have the live Craft and Connect on March 24th. So I'll have a review of that next week for you. But I think I'm just moving forward, trying to get all the thoughts that are in my head, all the different books that I would love to just, find the time to just pound into the keyboard out, but I've been struggling a little bit with my shoulder. So anyway, all the things as writers do. We have lots of things that we're doing in our lives, right? So today we're going to focus on websites. Now, Becky and I in the Craft and Connect conversations have talked about websites. So if you go back to Craft and Connect, you're going to get a little bit more iteration of why you need one. But when you're talking about marketing and your presence online, you have to consider having a website there. It's just all the big companies have them. All the big authors have them. I think it's only in the indie author sphere that people try to claim you don't need one. So if that makes you uncomfortable, it's okay. Maite is going to break it down for us, make it easy. She has all these templates to make it cheaper and easier for you. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but I would love for you guys to listen to my conversation with Maite and maybe change your mind about it, or maybe have that fire lit under you to actually go out and get it done in Q2 of 2026. Wouldn't that be great? So be sure to like and review the podcast. It always helps. And it really helps to give like a word review. If you're listening, it helps me to know that somebody out there is listening. If you're watching on YouTube, just give a little comment. It's very nice to hear from you all. But otherwise, let's get into the interview. Wonderful. We are ready to talk. Hi, Maite. How are you doing?
Good, and you?
Good. I love this little fake thing, like we haven't been talking for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's all right. So before we get into, we're going to talk all about websites today for authors, like specifically. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and before we get into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I'm a designer
Mm.
and I've been doing it since 2013, I think. So 12 years, 13 years maybe. And the most recent work that I did was the past 2 years. I was at Disney before I focused on authors. And I also like work with clients like Samsung and IDEO, Nike, also like augmented reality, a
Oh,
lot of
cool.
in the tech space, and like Magic Leap, which is pretty cool.
That's
So I
really fun.
built over like 50 apps and websites. And I'm by trade a UX designer, so it's about creating experiences and like you
Okay.
choose your own path. So that's sort of like my technical background.
Yeah.
And basically, as I was building all this, I kept saying over and over that the best brands, they're not just like selling things, they're telling a story
Yeah.
and going to like the psychology of the deep core things of why we want things, right? You don't buy a mattress because of the mattress, because you want to like sleep better and, like
Right.
have a better quality of life. So it's always going into that deep core of the why. So when I started working with authors last year, I was like, wait, you already know this. Like, you know how a story works. You know that you need a protagonist and, a problem, maybe a turning point, maybe a resolution. And
Right.
that's exactly how a website or like a web experience works.
Oh, that's
It's
interesting.
yeah. So it's the same bones, just a different container. And like it's been over 20 author websites. And
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to switch to anything else. And that's where I'm at today. So that's
That's
sort
where
of
you're
like a
at.
recap of the last decade.
I think
Personal.
some people would be like, why'd you go from Disney to working for like freelance? How did you just want to work for yourself?
So well, having like a kid sort of
Yeah,
forced me
that'll they'll
to get
change everything.
yeah, yeah. It was like a complete shift, like corporate world to I want my own schedule. I want to work with
Right.
things that actually excite me. Um, it's it's full disclosure, it's like don't meet your heroes. Like I like Disney for what it is, working behind the scenes, it sort of removes
Yeah,
the magic.
it reveals everything, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, I still want to create the magic, and this is why,
But it's
like
not
author
as magical when you're like in the grunt work. Yeah, I can see
when you're
that.
in like the stand-ups and the meetings and the emails and the yeah.
Like, who do I work
Not
for again? Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah, yeah,
goodness.
exactly. You
How
lose
did you
it.
choose authors though? Because there's a million different companies that you could work for.
So I'm a bookworm.
Okay.
And basically when I was trying to figure out what my, and this is something that's really important, I do love doing design. Like that's my, it's not even, it's a passion, to be honest.
Hmm.
I talk, I live, breathe this, and anyone who knows me, I'm like, that's my thing. And I was exploring different niches because I went into that YouTube spiral of being like,
Yes.
find your niche. And just being a website designer isn't, it's
Right.
very broad.
Right.
So I explored like I threw out webinars specifically for authors like WFWA, the historical group, and I sort of pitched them being like how to build a better website because all the
Right.
websites that I went to with authors were absolutely horrible. And I was like sort of like
Mince no words, Maite. Mince no words.
I know. I was like, but they could do so much better. So
Really, we can't. I think it's like an afterthought for most of us.
it is. And then I was like, this is like the one people steal from authors the stories, and they're like the last people of like sort of, and I'll explain why like websites are
Yeah.
good. So I pitched the webinar and then I got 6 clients from that in that first webinar. And I was like,
You're
okay,
like,
I think
please
it's
help.
time. And then I had so much fun doing it. Like I did more webinars, more clients,
Oh,
and then
interesting.
and now
You just
I'm in
took
it.
a chance, basically, and it
Yeah.
worked out. Yeah, always find the people who can write 90,000 words but can't seem to write a summary of their bio.
I know we can talk about that as well. Yeah. It's a different medium of writing.
It is
Yeah.
for sure. So, and I mean, it's visual, right? So, a lot of us, I always tell people who I hire for like anything graphic, like, I know when it doesn't look good. So, I know
Yeah.
my stuff doesn't look good, but I can't tell you like how to make it or how to, like, I wouldn't know how to make it better. We are like word people, we're not visual people. So, we kind of need your help. I think somebody might be listening and thinking like, maybe rage listening like, why do I still need a website in 2026? Like, okay, they used to tell us to have like blog sites, right, 20 years ago, and maybe
Yeah.
they're thinking, oh, that will just, I'll just have like my Substack, or I'll just have my Facebook or whatever. Why do you think websites are still around, I guess?
Okay. So I have two things. One is like the bestseller mindset, which is a
Okay.
little avant-garde. This is where confidence begins. It's not just about having a website and a brand. It's sort of like feeling confident and proud of what you share. And this is what
Interesting.
all successful brands do. They first have a brand kit and the mission and values, and then
Mm,
everything is the undertone of that. So when all the messages is the same and consistent against every single platform, and basically the website is that foundation. And then I'll tell you exactly more about the technical things, but like when you're proud of what you're sharing, you
yeah.
share it more. And when you share it more people see it and more opportunities open. And basically at the end of the day, marketing is eyeballs. If you're
Right.
in the cringe, my website's a work in progress, or I'm not really feeling about it, or like that energy, people
Hmm.
notice. And then you're like, I
That's
don't
true.
want to share it yet. And like luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So that's sort of
Oh,
like
yeah.
my philosophy. And then the technical reason is social media. Like
Yeah.
literally my partner was telling me, and I didn't read the news like in depth, but like yesterday Mark Zuckerberg was in 8 hours in Congress talking about Instagram and Facebook and
Mm,
all the implications of it. What is going to happen with Instagram and Facebook? If you're posting and putting all your stuff in borrowed land, and then all of a sudden Congress just decides, hey, Instagram is out, what is
oof.
going to happen with all your stuff? So
Yeah.
like your mailing list, is owned, like Substack is another one that I do recommend because you can own the mailing list, but
Okay.
also it can shut down from one day or another.
Hmm.
Your website is a one place that you
That's
own,
true.
and also emails. That's why I say like build your email list like yesterday. Even if you're
Yeah.
thinking of starting a book, just do it because it's planting the seed. And then when you launch, you're not like scrambling. You have
Right.
people who've been in the journey and shared, and it takes time. I'm not going to be
It
like, hey,
really
it's
does.
an overnight success. No, it's about consistency. And then when you're ready to, like launch your first book or, whatever it is, you have a place. And then emails also convert higher
Really?
because it's going directly into your inbox. It's something like 20% more versus 3 to 4% conversion on social media.
On social media. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
because
they
it's
keep changing that stupid algorithm.
yeah, exactly. And that like it shifts. You can be canceled. You can like there's so many things. It's the land that you own, and don't build on borrowed land.
Yeah.
Is why I keep saying it.
I
But
was
yeah,
thinking about like the Australian author or like anybody who's writing YA. I think Australia banned social media for 16 and unders, if that's
yeah,
true, or at least they were talking about it.
and
And
Spain
like
is
you might think, or Spain's thinking about it.
yeah,
Okay. Because like that's an age where they buy their own books. Like the parents aren't buying the books anymore. So now where are they going to go find the authors? Because they were sharing books online.
exactly.
They're doing the whole bookstagram thing. And now I'm not sure what they're going to do.
Yeah,
They're probably freaking out. They're still in the freak out stage right now.
yeah.
Like, what did we all do before we had social media? Like, I remember those years. We had websites.
Yeah, yeah. Literally.
Literally, we have blogs. So why? Okay, but if you're an author, I think a lot of people send people to their Amazon page. So why would you say not to do that?
Okay, so one of again, algorithm shifts. Amazon is all about what they want to promote and they want to
Mm,
make money. And if you're not within like X amount of time or in the algorithm, they're gonna bury your stuff. So
yeah.
you're just competing for attention. Um, so it's the same exact thing, borrowed space. And also you have just a short summary of your book. Yes, some reviews, but in your book page on your website, you can literally go in depth of
Mm,
why you fell in love with writing this book. Why did you write it? Your unique
right.
perspective. You can really capture the world and create like an immersive experience. Things that you can't do on Amazon. Yes, for sure, link it to Amazon, but at the end of the day, that is like that's where you can really sell your vision to like agents or to like turn it into a Netflix show because you're literally
Ah,
creating that mood board, that aesthetic before it's like what seeing a book title like or a book cover, like judge a book by its cover. That's sort of what's happening on Amazon and people are skimming. And
yeah.
then your website is like you're stepping into that world and you're falling in love and you're building that
Right.
mailing list and that
Right.
the journey and the deleted scenes and like they're like, oh, I really am invested in this and I really want to know when the next book is coming out. And you're building a community rather than just someone browsing.
I
That's sort
like
of the
how, yeah, like, I like that immersive experience, which I think a lot
yeah,
of writers spend a lot of time on Instagram trying to do.
yeah,
But you still can't, you feel like you're in a room, like a crowded room of people, right? And you can't
without it.
quite like being at a party when somebody asks you what your book is about and you're like losing your voice trying to talk over
Yeah.
the noise.
It's like,
What do you say? Like, and I can just envision like if you can step into, if I can just grab your attention for a second as a reader and be like, this is why I wrote the book, and you can feel the vibe, right? Like on Amazon, it's like Amazon's vibe, like
yeah,
however that is, if it's whether it's a horror or a thriller or fantasy, you can have sort of just that surrounding and step into that. So I can see that, but I can also see if you have a terrible website or just a boring website. Let's not say terrible, like a boring, everyday, average. Here I drag and dropped. This is my book. It
yeah.
might have the same.
Exactly. It's sort of like the analogy that just came to mind is like in Halloween, everyone has these amazing costumes, and you're
Right.
like, oh my God, but you're not seeing the world they live in. So imagine
Yeah.
seeing a costume like, Frankenstein in the horror, like ambiance. It makes a lot of cooler than having all these costumes compete, or like Marie Antoinette in someone's living room versus Marie Antoinette in Versailles. Very
Right.
different because
Very
the
different.
character the protagonist is one piece of the world that you're building.
Okay.
So it's a different experience.
It is. Okay, so you have a really unique way of creating websites because you're not just, well, there's a lot of different templates out there, and I have tried quite a few of them for authors. And a lot of them, first of all, feel very nonfiction. So fiction wise is like, oh, I don't know. And then
Yeah.
again, we're not visual. Most of us are not like designers with colors and fonts. Fonts trip me up so much. Like,
Oh, I have to mess with
like
that.
what font goes together? I can always
Yeah.
feel like that doesn't go together, but I'm not sure which ones. So how did you come to choose your way of putting this together, and tell us a little bit about that journey that the author goes through with you?
So, okay. So this like acronym, like my partner, I have to give him credit to this. I was like, how can I explain it in the most simple way of what they need and then how to do it? So like I created this thing called ARC framework. And because it's easy to remember, it's basically how to structure your story. So
Okay.
basically, archetype is your brand, right? It gives you the identity. The realm is your website, which
Oh,
gives it
cool.
structure. And I'll tell you exactly what you need to put. And then connect is the marketing thing of where it gives you visibility.
Oh,
So you need brand and website before you go to marketing. And then I can tell you exactly how to define your archetype with color, font, and images. It's like very,
okay.
very easy with three, like there's like a 3 question quiz. And I can literally tell you what your like sort of guide you to the right selection so it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Okay.
And then the realm, I'll tell you exactly what content you put, and it's a specific layout. And like if you go on my website on the portfolio,
Mm-hmm.
I use the same exact framework for all of them, and you'll see how differently it shows up for everyone else. It
It
feels like,
really does.
and they're all using the same exact framework.
Okay.
Um, so, for example, in the archetypes, like let's go into like the writing analogy.
Okay.
Um, you know who the protagonist is, right? Like every decision they make. So you need to figure out what world they show up in, aka their website. So for the archetypes, there's 6, and I have them grouped by like 3 buckets. Like
Mm.
first, strength, the second one is heart, and the third one is mind. So for example, for strength, that's like a hero or a rebel. The second is like the lover or dreamer. And then the third is like the sage or visionary.
Mm.
So once you figure out what your buckets are, and you can mix and match, and the quiz is basically what's your voice? Like if you could describe your voice, like how you make someone feel when you speak to them, I
Mm.
can tell you what type of font because each font has a font
Oh my
personality.
gosh, your font? That's
Yeah.
so cool.
So like your font is your voice. So for
Okay.
example, and that's how you like dress up your voice. So you wouldn't put Comic Sans on a legal document,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
right? It doesn't establish it. Like why does the New York Times or like established newspapers use serif fonts like the Times New Roman? Because
Right.
it's timeless. They're not going to put like a decorative font. So like
Yeah.
they all have little personalities that like I can mix and match, and like I have my website like a little table of being like if you're this voice, and like this it's 6 buckets. Um then the second one is like the mood that you're giving, the color. So again, if you know what you're trying to evoke, it's easy to choose color. So super classic example, if you're like the hero, or let's say like the rebel, that one's easy. You're going to use something like contrast, like something that ignites you, like red, right? It's like passionate
Mm-hmm.
in your face. But you can use a softer red or a pink to evoke love, or blue
Huh.
for trust, or like purple for dreamer or fantasy. So like, or like teal for like modern colors, like that you don't see in nature, like visionary, forward thinking.
Yeah.
And then, so like if the color, depending on what you're trying to evoke, that ambiance, and then the images basically like, there's a love story based in the war versus based in a bakery are two different things. So
Yes.
if you layer those things like a cake, they're all complementary. So you can sound rebellious and then use a really like condensed, bold font that's like very clean, but uh give the vibes of like romance, and then do pink. You know what I mean? And then you
Yeah.
do three for the scene. So like I have that 3 layer process of how you can create your like unique brand fingerprint.
Okay.
Or you can be, like a traditional lover or dreamer, and then you can use more like hazy, glowy imagery. and then purple color, and then like maybe a serif, like the fonts that use in fantasy that have like this,
Yes.
and that's like literally your dreamer, like you're creating this sort of fantastical world, magical world.
Yeah.
Uh, so like think of the books that like, even the Hunger Games, they use like very bold, or like the Handmaid's Tale, like that
Right.
tension, red. So like they're all used on
Oh,
bestseller things. So like when you go to like an event, you don't guess like this is a masquerade ball. Like they're using certain like decorations and interior
right.
to evoke a feeling. Or if you go to like a hospital, you're like, or a spa, one feels warm and the other one feels a little bit cold because of the lighting.
That's
It's like
true.
all these things. So like I basically deconstruct why you feel a certain way. And if you know your brand, like what you're trying to evoke, then choosing the color, the font, and the images are so easy. But you
Oh,
can't
that's
do that.
interesting.
And then, like, for example, so then we know your brand, your website, and then because you know those things, communicating it in your
Mm,
marketing becomes super clear. And it's all
yeah.
about consistency. Because if you're scattered and like one post looks like magical, the other post looks like a rebel, the other post looks like this, it's like this person has a split personality. And
I
like, I
think,
don't know what to
yes.
face it,
I feel
So
like you're looking at my Instagram right
no,
now.
no, no, you have a quite like clear.
Well,
But
I have to say most people who I've worked with have simply asked me, what colors do you like?
yeah,
And I mean, I don't know what that means, in the sense of like, just choose your brand colors. And I was just like, I don't
yeah.
know. I was stuck, honestly, like really stuck. Well, and I think one of them asked me, like, what do you want it to like show other people? And I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But
It's
I
hard.
can understand it better now that you're talking, like the way
Yeah.
that you're talking about it. But still, so the author really does need to understand what they want the experience of their author brand to evoke in somebody, like that feeling.
So here's another analogy. Like this is why I love design and I'm not like an artist. So there's like a meme where it shows like an artist, they showed like an artwork, and then 100 people can look at that same artwork and see it differently
Okay.
based on their experience. Design is if 100 people are seeing the same thing and thinking it differently, it's a problem. So for example,
Oh,
like the traffic light, if everyone interprets green differently,
yeah.
if everyone interprets red, it's a problem. So
Yeah.
design uses human psychology of the design patterns that we see on everyday life to evoke a certain emotion. That's why certain book covers and romance covers look a certain way, because that's half of the selling, to tell you like this is a book that you're attracted to.
Mm,
Or like it's just like you know the Bible from looking at it, right?
yeah.
Like you don't have to guess it. So it's basically the vibe before you have like even reading the first word.
Okay.
So that's another way to see it. There is a science to it. And first starting with the adjective of who you are, then I can pinpoint it. Because if you say
Okay.
like favorite color, I'm like, yeah, like for design, for like interior design, for like
Yeah. What
for
do I
my
like to
bed,
wear? I don't know.
there's so many. So like what is the thing? It's more like what's the purpose, and like maybe start with your genre. What genre? And if you have multiple genres, I can talk about that as well. Uh,
Yeah.
so then I go into there, like every author is like, oh, I write so many genres. I'm like, yes, but you have a unique perspective. I'm
True.
like,
Yeah.
sure that everything about your books, there's a
There's
common
a
theme.
theme. Yep.
Even if it's like historical fiction or like a dystopian book, there's always a common theme. And like for one client was like, oh yeah, she's like, mine is like obsessive love, you know?
Mm.
And then like there's like one with like vampires, and then there's another like nonfiction about like the permission to be obsessive and passionate love.
Yeah.
And I was like, there you go. Like that's your brand. That's your voice, and that
Right.
will come to you regardless of what world you build. That's sort of the underlying theme of what drives you to write. Uh,
Okay.
and it's just packaged in different ways.
Because I feel like sometimes authors, I'm trying to think of all the websites I've seen and tried to build myself. Like a lot of times it's whatever book they've written is kind of like the blown up of their book cover I can
Yeah.
just see this. And then it's like their book cover smaller. And
Yeah.
what you're saying is like not so much like only focus on that. It's giving like something that can be timeless. So no matter what next book you have, you don't have to change the entire front, at least the homepage, right? Like,
Yeah. So I have your like your author brand and then your book page. And there's
okay.
certain different things. So your author brand is basically like I have one client. She's like, I love like abandoned like places, like abandoned
Mm,
castles and like that vibe. And we're like, that will be your author like site. So we have this like abandoned castle with like the vines on it. And it's sort of just like a little bit with like that romance and that eeriness and mystery. But then her book page is immersed into like this fantasy magical forest.
oh,
And the
cool.
way that we connect it all is through your typography. So your typography is your
Oh,
voice, but then when you immerse yourself to a different world, the images and the colors change, but you still have the same typography. So you're like, oh, we're still in the same universe.
right.
This is, that underlying thing, that subtle thing, and that's how we connect it all.
That's
Uh,
really cool.
so yeah, so it's like there's a structure to the madness.
I'm sure there is. There's a structure to our madness too. It's
Yeah.
just it's two different worlds colliding for sure. What do you think about with the like the rise of AI and things like that? Is it still going to make websites relevant?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So with AI, like there's so many people. Well, like, how would you want to use AI? Like, that's the first question. Because
I
if you're
think most
using,
people use it like Google now. Maybe.
right, so that's amazing. Like, if it's helping you write copywriting, like, use it as a tool to amplify what you want to do. So, for example, I have another client, love her to death, but she's writing it like a novel, not website copy. So
Mm.
AI would be a perfect tool to being like, hey, I'm gonna just word vomit the 10 paragraphs and turn this into a 3-word tagline.
Because
You know what I mean?
nobody reads all of that on it. Yeah.
And no one reads all lines. So and then let the imagery do the talking, right? Because it's
Interesting.
more like script writing than like novel writing, right? You have endless pages in novels, but in the script, maybe it's like a voice and you have to let the actor do the facial expressions. That's the same thing that I say put in the background. The word, like maybe stories let me like stories are spells whispered in the dark, and then having like a forest in the night with some like
Mm.
fairies right there. There's it's so layered, and your brain is processing it so fast. You're like, oh, okay, there's something there. Or
Okay. So it's
another
more like a trailer. Like you don't really
yeah,
want to. Okay.
exactly.
So
That's
you could
exactly
give more than, would you give more or less than what you give on Amazon or just a completely sort of different, less
less.
sterile feel, I guess?
Like, so for the book page, my approach is a little bit different. For the homepage, I always have like stories, passionate love stories, or enemies to lover stories, or
Mm,
let's see, stories spun by fate, um, stories celebrating everyday joy. Like these are like taglines of it, or gentle tales for children facing goodbye. So
oh,
like
okay. So the author's taking their overall theme and sort of making it into a tagline.
exactly.
Oh,
And then yeah, I'm just looking at some examples here. So then for the book page, I do it a little bit different.
okay.
I like to have a what if question. So it
Mm,
immediately asks questions. So for example, like Alice McKay, she has like the keepers, and the question is, what if the gods' greatest weapon was their own forgotten humanity?
that's a pretty
Like
good
yeah,
question.
you're like, okay, like tell me more.
Yeah.
It creates it creates like another one, and then another one is like the if question, like if you ever wanted to start over and were willing to risk everything, this is for you. So you already put
Mm.
them in the state of mind of like what the experience is going to be when you read it and how you're going to feel. That is like my biggest advice, just and that's what you can do on Amazon, right? It goes book and then the synopsis and then like the reviews.
Yeah, Amazon's the hospital, not the
Exactly.
spa.
Exactly. Exactly. Like that is what I'm trying to do here. Like you're trying to create curiosity.
Okay.
Uh,
I think that's what they're trying to do with that A plus content, but quite frankly, you have to scroll down. on
Yeah.
Amazon even to get there. And people go there to buy. They are
Yeah.
going there, they are looking at the book cover, looking at the star reviews, seeing something and choosing yes or no. Like, I might scroll down because I'm an author looking for comps. But
Yeah.
when I'm in buying mode, it's just go buy, do I not? I don't know, whatever. But I can see myself going on to, if I have that feeling on somebody's website, most likely they have a higher chance of selling me on that
Yeah.
book.
And there's a book funnel, right? Like, for example, they're saying before they used to say it takes like 5 to 7 times if you see something on Instagram or social media, you'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because of all the noise, it's more like 20 plus times.
Oof.
Yeah. So, like, let's say, like, that's where it starts. Like, they first see you somewhere. And hopefully, if you're doing a good job, it's enticing them to look at your website. And if
Mm-hmm.
they see it, they're like, wow, like, it's a showstopper.
Yeah.
And then it reduces the chances. And then when they go to Amazon or any other book link, that's when they're already decided that they want to buy it. That's like sort of the final
True.
nail in the coffin where they're like, let me get the social proof of like have other people reviewed this. And that's when they're just sort of,
Right.
um
I hadn't
the
thought about that,
it,
but that's true. If they actually
it,
click the button from your website,
yeah.
they're almost 100% there.
Yeah. And then people will probably jump back and go to Goodreads or go to Google and see if there's other
Yeah.
reviews. But if you have it all curated on your site, like you've done the hard work for them.
Right.
Like you're like, I've done all the convincing. It's your pitch. So like when you're ready, you're like, oh, like you've done the exact formula. And I have like how to structure your book page
Okay.
using that exact formula. Like that what if question creates curiosity. You have 5 seconds to tell someone to like hook someone. If they don't scroll after that, you're done. After that, it's like then comps. Like if you like reading legends and Buffy the I forget what's her name.
Vampire.
Vampire Slayer.
Vampire Slayer. Yeah.
Yeah, like those here are these comps, you'll
Right.
like this book.
Okay.
And then you go into like I like the characters. Here are the two characters, especially for
I
love stories.
like how you set up the characters, honestly.
So yeah, I'm like, here are the characters because it's like I see myself in that. That's
Right.
another reason why people are like, do I see myself in this? Because we
Yeah.
all sort of do. And then you go into a little bit of the book, and then you say like why I wrote it, and you see a little bit of that unique perspective, why I'm the only person who write it this certain way.
Yeah.
That or like why it's relevant for this time. Like you hook
That's
it
an
in
interesting way to put
and
it.
then you have the book reviews. If you don't, it's fine because you already have so many convincing
So you
points.
would
Like,
put book reviews there? You would like,
you can if you have like good great reviews that you want to highlight, it doesn't
mm,
hurt. Like it
okay.
definitely doesn't hurt. And if you're a new debut author, you don't have to. Like you can say also what I do is like write the author's perspective as if someone was reviewing your book. You know what I mean? Like riveting. I mean, the reviews are not that like, the new,
Yeah.
they're not like great. They're like page turner. They don't really give you much.
That's true.
They plant seeds and say like the words that you want people and sort of manifest it
Yeah.
and clearly say that it's like, my snapshot or my take. And then it like just sort of makes, once you say it, you can't, it like plants a seed basically.
Well, it's kind of giving a little bit more than a trope, right? It's giving them
Yeah.
like a more of the vibe, I guess. So like, is it a tearjerker? Is it page turning? Is
Yeah.
it, like kind of these different things? And quite frankly, what people don't know is most of those blurbs, those people didn't read the book. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes they get in trouble for being like, you thought that was good. And they're like, I don't know. I just,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's so much about the book world that people don't
Yeah.
realize it's all marketing. But okay,
It is.
that aside.
I agree.
So when you're talking about like your formula, you design websites, but then you have two different ways that authors can work with you. So can you talk a little bit about those two different paths, I guess?
Well, it's like it all ends up to the same path. So basically, I always say like one of the authors like what they come from like to me for. They're like, I have no idea what to put on my website and how to structure it. So
Mm-hmm.
I go into all the technical using all my UX experience, 20 plus years of how to sell a product. And I'm like, this is human psychology and how you sell your book and the
Mm-hmm.
things that you're going to need. So I have all the fill in the blank copy prompts all there in a Squarespace template where you can like plug and play. And then
Okay.
the other one is, and then you basically change the font, the colors, and choose it. And then the other path is the custom, where it's like me helping you do it. And I'll choose the images and everything, knowing psychology and like digging deep. Cause sometimes people will be like, okay, I like the moon. So put the moon background. And I was like, think about a scene in your book that's pivotal, that maybe it's like a pocket watch or something that you zoom in that is so symbolic. Or for example, like Kelsey, this one was very cool. She's like, it's about Montana and there's a symbolism about the pine cone. And I was like, okay, what about the pine cone? And she's like, the pine cone only opens with really, really hot fire. And that's how it creates a seed and turns into a pine tree.
Yeah.
And she's like, sometimes you need that pressure to like bloom into something big. So then we just highlighted that and that
Oh,
symbolism.
cool.
And then like if you read the book, it's like an Easter egg, and then
Yeah.
you understand it. So then it's like I help you like figure out how to package it
Okay.
so it creates curiosity and makes you invested in this world, without revealing too much, but just enough. So when you read it, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like part of an insider because this is
Yeah,
what
because
now
I saw that. Yeah. That's very
yeah,
cool.
exactly. And then when you look at back at the website page, you're like, oh my gosh, like now I get everything. Like I can see it,
Right.
you see it for the second time.
Right.
Uh,
It would actually get them to go back to your website, which would be
yeah.
nice.
And then like they'll want to sign up for your newsletter because then you have like deleted scenes or character, written character, you know what I mean? Like you start getting
Yeah.
a little more depth, or curiosities or like interview with this character or a letter found, you know what I mean? Like, and that's how you
Right.
build your email list in your journey and make it like an experience beyond the pages,
Right.
and
Oh,
create a community.
there's a lot of cool things you can do with a website. I
Yeah.
think most authors that I know are just like, it's just it's like a stumbling block, honestly. It's like, oh, that sounds so cool. I don't know how to do that. So I mean, WordPress is one of those things that I've had WordPress for way too long, and I found it very complicated because I don't have your background. So it's been a love-hate relationship. So why did you choose Squarespace? Is it easier?
1,000%. I
Okay.
even find
I
it
should just move.
difficult. Yeah. I honestly, I even find it difficult. So I first did a website, for like the new Viking, a friend of mine who we did like a meditation teacher training 10 years ago on Squarespace, like, just helping each other out. And so easy. Now she still uses that website and she's managing it on her own. So
Nice.
because of that, I started using that with other clients because my passion, this is selfish, my passion is building the brand and the website and like that world and then handing it over. Like I don't
Hmm.
want to maintain it. I don't want like to host it. I don't want you to like keep calling me for like updates. Like that's not the fun part for me. So you can do it yourself
Right.
because once it's set up and then I teach you how to easily do it because then you have the structure.
Right.
It's sort of like when you outline the book and you have someone outline it, you don't need them to like spoon feed everything. You're like, oh,
Right.
okay, I get how this works. And
Yeah.
it's so easy. It's basically like a Google Doc. It's easy as editing as a Google Doc.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
it's in real
gosh.
time too. So it's like literally save, publish, it's live. That's
Okay.
that easy. And then you're like, edit, Google Doc. Like it's that easy. So that's why I use it for simplicity. And it's like, if you're not having fun with your website, it will show.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, and this is a way for you to like see it in a different way. And then when you're like, oh, I have another idea for a book section that Maite didn't have. Like maybe I want to add a playlist of what this book, like what my character listens to. And
Hmm.
then you can just add a section. Literally, it's like plus section, and that's it. It's
Oh
that
my
simple.
gosh. You're selling
And you write the title.
that. You should
And
work
there's
for
like
Squarespace.
I know, and I'm not, an ambassador of Squarespace, but that's why I use it because again,
Right.
I'm a designer. My whole job was about making apps easy to use.
Right.
So like I use the easy, even Wix. Like I had a client on Wix, hated it, and I was like, I
Really
couldn't help her. I was like, I don't think I could do this because it was like so
interesting.
clunky. And I work in tech. I've worked in tech for 12 years, but that's why I have less tolerance when it's bad.
True.
I
True.
know it could be better. And then I like take it personally. I'm like, where's the UX team here? And like I give them feedback and I'm like, this is unacceptable. You need
Fix
to be better
yourself.
as designers.
Well, and I don't think it's selfish of you to hand it over. I think when you empower people to do stuff, you're actually helping people not have to pay Someone
Yeah.
every single time they want to like, oh, I switched, I want to do this for my mailer list, or I want two different mailing, or like whatever, add a playlist, whatever that is. If it's easy and you don't feel like so overwhelmed doing it, you can just get a task off of your list. That's amazing. And it
Yeah.
costs you nothing but time. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, people can sell so much to authors because there's so much that
I
is
know.
needed. And a lot of times you just don't know how to do, so
I,
like sometimes it makes me mad when I see author like offers being like, no, services being offered to authors where I'm like, that's easy if you just learn.
I know. I know.
So I
And if
think it's
you,
actually not selfish of you to teach us
yeah,
that.
yeah. And if you build it once right, like I have like so many other clients 7 years ago still on Squarespace managing on their own. So
Right.
like I couldn't say if I felt confident. Like
Right.
every single client of mine, like has been maybe has emailed me once or twice in the beginning, being like, hey, I like messed up the formatting here, like small things. And then like I send them a loom, show them how they can and like they haven't really reached out again. Cause I'm
That's
normally
amazing.
like I'm a friend, like you can reach out to me. Like I'm not gonna
Right.
leave
Right.
alone on this. Cause I was like, it's also my portfolio. Like I wanted to
Yeah,
look
absolutely.
and like maybe one or two times they'll reach out if there's something completely, but out of the 20 so far, and plus the other old clients, they're on their own and they're like, they love it. They're enjoying it because they get the gist of it.
And
Uh,
really, like, we'll put the link in the show notes to your portfolio page. They feel really timeless in the sense of like Coca-Cola is never going to change, like people know what it is. That would be crazy of them to change their branding, or like Nike. So once you understand your author brand, whereas like there have been times throughout, I think I've changed my logo like five
yeah.
times just because I like it was never good. It was, it was like,
It never,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Like it doesn't I mean, and sometimes we make a website where like it goes out of style. I don't know what it is. Again, I don't know why, but it's like, no, that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah,
But if you have a timeless one, all you have to do really is add another book page with each book.
that's it. And like it's sort of like fashion. You have like the classic piece
Yeah.
and the you can have some of like, the trendy stuff, but like your core should be your classic pieces. And then, it can just you can have some of your flair. And
Okay.
when it's uniquely you, it will never go out of style. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if trends come and go. Like your style is you. And that's when you feel most confident. Like when you walk into the room, you're like, I love this look because I love it.
Right.
Like it's glowing. And
Yeah.
that's how I build the author website. Because it's like
Okay.
if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Yeah.
That like and that's how the same thing. Like if you're not like, oh my God, and your eyes light up, you're like, it's not your brand yet.
Right, right. You just have to keep digging. So before we go, how does that then like go into marketing? Like you have your website, you have that. We still, and of course, we've already talked about like algorithms can change, but we're still on social media at the moment. So like how it more than like, is it just the confidence that or like, is it more than that?
So like let's say you have like the three core assets, like the image, the typography, and the color. And then I also like you can have that in Canva, like the in the templated post that matches your website. So like because you did all the
Oh,
work of how you're going to communicate it and how you're going to talk about it, you already can repurpose all of that content into social media posts. And you
okay.
have basically your script and you're basically just repetition. Like great speech writers, they repeat over and over. Like when you see ads, they're repeating the same thing, the same jingle. It's about repetition and saying the same thing. You will get bored of your content before anyone else will get bored of it.
Yeah, that's
So,
the problem. Yeah.
but if you're like, wow, I like how I say it because this is keeps
Right.
reminding me why I wrote this book, why I added this detail, why I'm talking about it in this certain time period, you
Okay.
keep reliving your passion and then that passion amplifies. Like, when someone's like talks about something that's scripted that doesn't feel authentic versus the thing
Mm,
that you see a museum or like a cool book or like an amazing show, for example, you're like, you have to watch this. It has
yeah.
this and this. And you start sharing it with everyone because you're like, I'm so obsessed with this, or I love this, you
Right.
know, store that I just found. You want to share it. So that's the vibe. If that doesn't feel it, then you like most likely whatever you're sharing on social media is gonna
Yeah,
flop.
you people feel it. We just
They feel
feel
it.
stuff, right?
You
As humans.
Yeah, yeah.
You,
Like by a mile away, if you like know someone's selling you, or if they're like doing this because they're like, oh, they told me to post more. No, post once a week or like, once a month, but like make it like
yeah.
you
And I
know,
can see how everyone talks about authenticity on Instagram. Like you have to be more authentic, especially
yeah,
now with AI videos and whatever. But if you if you know your brand already, you are
yeah,
being authentic, right? So whereas like the discomfort comes a lot, like with my experience was like just choose a color and you're like, I don't know.
yeah.
There's
And it
not
builds,
really a connection there, I guess.
yeah, and it builds confidence. Like basically the website, how I build it, it's all opening liners. So like that's how you can repurpose. Then you can ramble. But like these are
Right.
all facts. You know what I mean? Like how do
Right.
I about my characters? Oh, this is how I did it because I already wrote it. And this is
Yeah.
how I say it. And then they can ask more and then I can ramble and sort of nerd out on it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but
true.
like but like your opening liner, like at a dinner party or at network party, you're not gonna be like the most intimate detail first thing. You
Right.
have your icebreaker, and basically everything that's on this website are icebreakers that you can repurpose and then
Interesting.
nerd out on.
Okay. I like that. I love how that flows. Yeah, it flows in like so many directions. You get people
Yeah.
onto your newsletter, onto buy your book, and then it gives it's like so much relief from having to think of social media
Yeah.
posts.
And also it's like a lot of authors are not marketers. So it's
No.
like you're like it's sort of like an entrepreneur. Like you have to be the marketer, you have to be the cover design, like you have to be so many hats.
Yeah.
It's like this is just one thing and being like, this is the formula. Once you know how to do it, you're like, oh, everything is obvious in retrospective, right? You have 20/20
Yes.
vision. When you see it, you can't unsee it. You're like, oh, this makes sense. Like
Right.
so simple.
And I mean, and the thing is, the big brands do this. So
They
like,
all do this. These are secrets from Disney, from
yeah.
Nike. They're all using this format. I'm just repurposing it for authors.
Yes.
This
Because
is
I
why
can
you're like,
hear the authors going like, I don't want a template. Like, yes, you do.
yeah. You're
You
like, why did I buy a mop at 2 a.m?
exactly.
This is why.
This is why. That is so true. Oh my gosh. That's your little tagline there. Like, I can help you. I can tell you why you bought him up at 3
Yeah.
a.m. I think I did that a few days ago.
I mean, don't
But
we?
it's true. Like I know that we sort of cringe at the word template, but it is okay that we've cracked the code or that you're helping us crack the code because really it's almost when I married a Spaniard, you're Spanish.
Yeah.
Like when I thought as a Wisconsin girl, like everyone who makes really great fresh Mediterranean food, it must be really hard. And then I watched my mother-in-law make gazpacho for the first time and I was like, that's not hard. So I must be missing something. And then
Yeah.
you drink it and you're like, no, this is amazing. So I think in our heads, we've made it so hard that we then like cringe at template, but that is what everyone else is doing. And that is why they're convincing us to buy the pants.
Yeah. I
So
love how you said that. Stop calling it template. Let's call it a recipe.
yeah, there you
Because
go.
with a recipe, you can use, like your family recipe, but then you can add your flair. You can be like, you know what?
Right.
I'm gonna add instead of sugar, I'm gonna add apple. And like it's just a starting point to like unlock and unleash your full potential.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so cool. So where can people find you and look into like at your portfolio and look into working with you?
Yeah. So, like, first of all, like, you can find me on Instagram. And so I actually just finished doing a year's worth of content, and it's basically bite-sized mini course on how to choose color, how to choose
Wow.
fonts based on like the mood and your archetype. And then also like website tips, like daily things, like things that you can simply do today. So
Okay.
like that's something just for like daily inspiration. And also like the bestseller mindset to like manifest this, like you're in it,
Mhm.
like before you feel anything. And then you can find me on my website. Basically, first thing, look at the websites of all of the author
Yeah.
examples to be inspired. I have it by genre and they're growing. So that is amazing. And I'm also on Readsy, like for custom designs.
Okay.
Uh, but first, like look at the content, feel it yourself, And I'm here for questions and everything. Like DM me if you have a specific question. I'm always more than happy to like nerd out on this
Yeah.
because I have a lot to say and a lot of structure are different, but
We
happy.
can feel your passion for it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it because this is what, we need collaboration in this, right? Like
Yeah.
we'll write the books for you and you can help us design the websites. And this is how we do it. Like I did see a post from you the other day on Instagram, and we'll have the links in the show notes. It was so cool. You were going over like somebody's website, just sort of
Yeah.
in real. It was really cool. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to see the visuals to what you have just told us, for everyone. So we will put those links in the show notes. But thank you so much, Maite, for coming on and talking to us about websites. I agree with you. It's something that we need. We're just trying to convince everyone that it doesn't have to be hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It could be actually fun. So if you know,
Exactly, exactly. Well, thank you so much.
thank you for having me.